2023 Planning Commission meeting. I'm going to take roll call. All members are present with the exception of Commissioner Knopp, who is excused. So I'm looking then for an approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. There's a motion, Alderman Newmeyer, and seconded by Mr. Strom. Any questions or concerns on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Public comments and appearances are welcome this evening. You have up to 3 minutes to speak. If you need more time, please just contact me in the future to be considered for a potential agenda item. Are there any speakers? Wow, Mr. Sigwart, I didn't even look up. Mr. Sigwart,
good
you
evening.
have 3 minutes.
Thank you. John Sigwart, 230 West Tice Street, even though there is no East Tice Street. I said that because Eric isn't here tonight. 2 items tonight. Number one, you have a site plan modification for an apartment building on Highway 33, and it requires going from a 55 or older facility to what I'd call no age restriction facility, and the parking requirements go from 1.0 spaces per unit to 1.75. Plus, there's also a bit of a shortage underneath the building of underground parking, I believe. So those are exceptions that the Plan Commission will have to take. I just want to bring to the attention of the Plan Commission that over my 5 decades in the city, I've seen a loosening of site plan enforcement. My point is simply this. When you approved this apartment site plan, you approved a gazebo and a game area that hadn't been built yet, but will now be replaced by 6 parking spaces. I just feel that it's imperative that the city realize that they're doing that, and secondly, that there will be some give and take and exchange back and forth for that benefit to the property owner. Second item on the agenda is the declaration of excess land for the Shannon Farm. And I'd like to see a discussion, if possible, about retaining 5 acres adjacent to the clinic on Highway 33 for the purpose of public use. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sigwart. Any other public comments, speakers, appearances? All right, seeing none, then let's move into agenda item number 4 there, which is a minor review and consideration and possible action on a proposed parking lot expansion for the Hidden Hills Apartments located at 1740 West Grand Avenue. The applicant is Hidden Hills Multifamily, Port Washington, LLC. The Plan Commission is being asked to approve a proposal by the applicant to expand the parking surfaces for the Hidden Hills Apartments located directly off of West Grand Avenue in the Hidden Hills subdivision for 25 spaces from 25 to 31. Mr. Harris has a recommendation that is going to be modified, is my understanding. So, Mr. Harris, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are having a bit of a hiccup with Air Media, so if you just give me a moment. We should, it does not like the passcode. There we go. The equivalent of slapping it upside the head. So this is a minor review for an amended site plan to expand the surface parking lot for the apartment building at 1740 West Grand Avenue. The extension is for a total of 6 lots. And here I have the current and the proposed site plans for the from the applicants. This was approved back in 2017. And since that time, the applicant simply came forward and requested, due to increased demand, an additional 6 lots. This will, as Alderman Sigwart pointed out in his public comments, there was a gazebo and some gaming little recreation areas on the original site plan that has been removed to make way for the extra parking lot. real quick on the site as it exists today. This is the northern end. This is the end of the parking lot as it exists. The landscaping is in. There is just the line of trees, and you cannot see them in the background, but where my arrow is, due to just the lack of foliage there is a line of landscaping that is in place. Looking at the landscaping plan for any additional parking, just given that the parking is not expanding along a right-of-way or a public way, rather as where it is on the end of this parking lot, adjacent to both an outlot and a stormwater outlot, and then the nearest property line. The code did not actually require additional landscaping at this section of the lot, but as pointed out in the zoning code, to apply some flexibility to the adherence to the parking codes with parking spaces, the Plan Commission does have an option to require additional landscape as it sees fit. The recommendation is to approve the minor review. And with that, as noted, there is a representative from Belinsky to answer any questions from the commission.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
I would.
Yep, Mr. Neumeyer?
Eliminating the gazebo and the, like, courts there for something, has it been a detriment as far as renting it out? And if clients expressed any dismay that you're not having that? Nothing? Okay. Any intentions of doing something else later on? Okay. And is that, so I'm clear on it, that's because of the rental units are renting quite well and you're getting more tenants in each unit?
Yeah, I was going to
Yep,
ask you
come
to
on
step
up.
to the microphone. Thank you.
John Donovan from Belinsky Homes, representing Hidden Hills LLC. So we have a shortage of parking on this site. We've got 35 units. We have 28 of them leased already, and we have another 5 that will be starting in November 1st. So we'll only have 2 left by the end of November, and it may even be full by then. So we have 33 parking stalls in the basement, and we have 25 on the surface, which only gives us 58. And we feel that so far the trend, we've done a study on the 28 people that have leased already, and it's coming out to 1.75 something in regards to cars. So we're going to be short. And adding the 6 will get us up to 1.5 spaces more than that average of 1.75. So that's why we're here tonight. We're looking at putting the final lift in this fall, and we would need to then restructure and put in the curbs before that for this expansion. We are also, I forgot my train of thought, I'm sorry. Any other questions at this time?
Mr. Neumeyer, anyone else? Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, I guess more of a statement. I mean, I'm fine. I understand the parking issues and you know, we all understand parking issues. But, you know, being that this is along a major thoroughway coming into town, I'm really sad to see the landscaping go away between the 2 buildings and all this. I thought that was a really neat feature. And now it's plain.
Well, I don't know of what landscaping is being
Well,
eliminated.
the gazebo and the courts and the area for the residents. I mean, it just looks much more of a neighborhood with that sort of stuff there. And so, yeah, I guess I wish there would have been maybe a little bit more added back to the plan. Like I said, I understand the parking concerns that you have and appreciate looking out for the residents from that perspective. But I just think coming in, particularly with, you know, talking about stuff across the road and other stuff going in the area, you know, we've talked a lot about in the last few meetings about aesthetics and how it should look. And to me, having, you know, a little bit of a park-like setting as part of that is something we should at least be considering.
Mr. Harris, to help Mr. Mock, is there space there to maintain that expectation?
Just to clarify, when you say the space to,
For the gazebo to be just moved or to be built and,
going off of a site plan, it appears there is, but I'll defer that to Mr.
Yeah,
Donovan.
there looks to be definite room for the gazebo.
because is it built yet or not built? I didn't drive out
Which part?
there. The gazebo?
No, it is not built.
So the motion could maintain the expectations for the landscaping in the gazebo? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ryer?
Yeah, I could support the parking lot expansion, but only if there's the gazebo put back in. Otherwise, there's really no pedestrian feature.
I wonder, the photo that you had, Bob, really didn't show as far as some of those lot islands and how they're landscaped. Are there trees in those islands?
Well, there's no islands on that parking lot.
I'm talking the
Oh.
little bumps by the number 5 and the number 4.
I don't believe there's trees on those islands or those bump outs.
I don't know this for sure, there definitely was a landscape plan that was approved, and if there is something missing, I would certainly reference that
Okay,
in regards to this
Okay.
condition.
okay.
Mr. Trump?
I mean, with that in mind, are we better off just replacing those green thumbs with parking stalls and then not extending the parking lot? Or are they, I can't tell dimensions from here, are they 10 feet wide?
Pretty close.
Yeah, I think that gives us a definition. I mean, instead of one big, large commercial site parking lot, it does define and separate some of it. And if there are certainly landscaping that are supposed to be in there to help that out as well from the view. When you drive by, I drove by today and I could see the gazebo being picked up, but I don't really think the site is lacking landscaping. I was telling Bob earlier that I was quite impressed with how the building actually looks and turned out. But tonight is the night for, if we want to explore any options, I can understand the gazebo. It does indicate a pavilion or a gazebo. I don't know the definition between either one. It looks to be about 10 by 10.
Gazebo is a really solid Scrabble word. That's the big difference. I mean, the G and the Z in there.
And
the triple
pavilion,
letter.
and pavilion isn't.
No, it's just a V. It's 4-pointer. Okay, so any other questions? Otherwise, we'll be looking for a motion with, kind of what you're hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve the extension of the parking lot with the 6 spaces as presented, with the exception that I really would like to see the gazebo be maintained or as far as somewhere on that lot.
Okay. So whatever the original language is, Mr. Harris, can we insert that into the final motion? Okay, is there a second on that motion?
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or concerns on the motion? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck with the 1.75 cars. I'm imagining that's like a Chevy Malibu and a Prius.
Well, I heard that you're changing your ordinances in the future, but I don't know how that'll help everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of three-wheelers. Okay, declaration of surplus land is on action item number 5 here. So agenda, consideration and possible action on the declaration of surplus land for approximately 39.4 acres of city-owned land located on the south side of West Grand Avenue, west of Laura Lane, and east of Jackson Road. The project in background is the Planning Commission is being asked to provide a recommendation to the council on whether to declare the subject land as surplus for a possible future sale. Background is that the city has put out at our request an RFP for potential development of that land, and this is the first step in order to move us forward. Next month, just so you know, that we will be bringing those two RFPs with a leadership team recommendation to this body to review the two proposals. And again, we've got three choices, the two proposed or to do nothing. So this still puts us in a position to be able to move swiftly if we make a decision to do so. So with that, Mr. Harris, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as noted, this is more of a process question. As you know, the city has owned this parcel of land for a number of years, and it's always been determined to be a development site of one form or another. But nevertheless, as part of that process, prior to selling any land, there needs to be an official declaration of surplus land by the council, provided a recommendation is provided by the Plan Commission. And so whether there is a developer that does acquire the land from buy the land from the city now or tomorrow or not yet, this does not. We do need the declaration of surplus property. It doesn't bind the city to sell the land, but the fact that we have that required declaration in place as allows the flexibility to start that process moving forward and whatever end game that may take. So with that, the staff recommendation is to recommend to the council to have a declaration of surplus property for the subject property. And I did add a suggested motion in the under the recommendation if you need to follow it.
The legal one.
Correct.
Any questions for Bob?
So just in an effort to do due diligence in response to Mr. Sigwart's comment about leaving acreage, is there something that the city would consider that makes sense for them to keep some of that as public land?
I think as of now, this has been the site that's been put out there for surplus property.
Right. I mean, there is a park not that far from there. So let's say if it is a housing development or something, there is parkland that's designated not far from this.
Correct.
You know?
But again, this is the site that's been in question, and so declaring it surplus
Okay.
would be the first motion.
Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
So moved.
All right, so the motion is, all right, and is there a second?
I'll second.
So again, the motion is I move that the Plan Commission find that the subject property in the city of Port Washington is surplus property, which is not needed for any public purpose, and recommend that the property be sold or otherwise disposed of as a common council may deem appropriate. There is a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion carries. Council gets to take it up. Okay, the third agenda item here is a condominium plat. Consideration and possible action on a proposed condominium plat as part of the Maritime Industrial Condos development located at the northwest corner of South Park Street and Maritime Drive in Port Washington's Industrial Park. The applicant is Maritime Sheds LLC, and the Plan Commission is being asked to provide a recommendation to the Common Council regarding approving a required condominium plat for the subject development. It is a 5-acre parcel in the industrial park with up to 23 individually owned businesses and light manufacturing spaces. Mr. Harris, the staff recommendation is to approve this condominium plat and send it to council. There might be some adjustments.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has been, there's been a number of components to this development, and I think we're finalizing and rounding third on all the needed requirements. In this case, the finalization of the condo plat, which we see on the screen and in your packet, and also just finishing up some engineering items with the developers agreement. But in this case, as they are individually owned units, a condo plat is needed. And so there'll be a recommendation to the Common Council to approve the condo plat. Like any final plat, Plan Commission recommends to the council for final approval. Working with both the city engineer and the project engineers, the staff recommendation is to approve the condo plat. I would like to add some minor conditions of approval after discussing them with the staff engineer and the project engineer. So the staff recommendation would be to conditionally approve the condo plat with the following conditions, and that would be to, instead of private street label, add it as a private drive, show the stormwater ponds on the plat, add the unit addresses, add a city approval signature block, and then have the common elements clearly defined. And that is the staff recommendation. There is a member of the project team here tonight for any questions. Otherwise, that's staff recommendation.
Mr. Harris, can you just repeat those? Private drive instead of private street?
Correct.
Add stormwater
Ponds.
retention pond to the plat?
Yep.
Add addresses to the
Unit.
plat? What was the next two?
Unit addresses, add a city approval signature block, and also clarify common elements on the condo plat. That's just a common feature to a condo plat.
Any questions or concerns, Mr. Ryer?
Is this the last site in the business park?
No. There is space owned by abutting landowners, but I think this was the last standalone parcel in the industrial park, save for, again, that extra land that current owners have or current businesses have, I believe.
Okay. And are these allowed now?
Yeah, all the zoning approvals, the plan development approvals and developers agreement have been approved. Developers agreement was just conditionally approved with some final stormwater or civil engineering issues.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns? Mr. Strom?
Yeah, I just want to speak to the engineering a little bit. We are getting close to getting it approved and final. There's some issues with the stormwater pond that I have no doubt that the engineer will be able to work through. I guess just the one thing sort of alluding to Mr. Sigwart's comments on the apartment, I guess what gets approved on the civil site plans, we expect to see get built. And I guess it's a word of caution. I think there's opportunities for value engineering, but I would do that before we approve the site plan.
In other words, do it right the first time and don't bring it back. All right. So is there a motion then to approve the recommendation of staff with the 5 additional conditions? Private drive, add storm, add addresses, add appraised signature block, and I think that was it.
Clarify common elements.
Clarify common elements.
So moved.
There was a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or concerns on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Poole, you good over there? All right, because we can redo this whole meeting. It was 24 minutes. All right, well, there's an IPA somewhere screaming to meet Mr. Newmeyer, so. It's trivia night. Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Ryer,
Move to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All right. Second by Mr. Mock. No, I know it's Mr. Ehrlich. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Gentlemen, please make sure to also fill out the plus deltas. If there's anything that you agreed with that went well tonight or any changes for consideration, make sure to add that so we can continuously improve our processes. Otherwise, good night, everybody. Go